right, so this is part of week 2, and in this we're going to be talking first about Eclipse, and we're going to talk about how to set up a workspace, how to set up a project, our packages, and then also how to integrate the student files that we'll be getting from the publisher. I'm going to move fairly quickly through the video. Please remember that you can pause, rewind to make sure that you can follow along as appropriately as possible. Now, the first time you launch Eclipse, it is going to ask you for your workspace folder. Now, mine doesn't ask me for that anymore because I've already set my workspace. But just to show you what it looks like, you'll get a pop-up that looks like this to ask you where you want your workspace. My recommendation to all of my students is that, excuse me, you set up your workspace using a Google Drive file stream folder. And what this does is it allows your entire Google Drive to be accessed as if it's a folder or a networked drive on your computer. The thing that's really nice about this is that if you use your workspace on your Google Drive, then no matter what computer you are on, as long as you point Eclipse at that same folder, you'll be able to access the same workspace environment. Google Drive file stream is included by default with Google Apps for Education. If I pop over here to Google Drive, if you click on Settings, there's a link for Get Drive for Desktop. And that will install Drive File Stream, which looks like this in your taskbar. I'm already logged in, so you can see. If you're not, you would log in there. Okay, so that's going to set up your Drive File Stream on your computer. That should be the first thing that you do. Once that's complete, you'll choose a new folder, create an APCSA folder or something similar on your Google Drive that you'll create your workspace in. So you've gone, Eclipse has asked you for your workspace, you've chosen a place on your G drive, on your Drive file stream. You'll notice I'm a hypocrite, I didn't do that. It's because I work solely off of my laptop, so I didn't bother to do that. Once you have your workspace, this whole area over here is going to be blank. This is your Package Explorer. You may have to close the little splash screen tab that comes up when you first enter Eclipse in order to see this left bar. So within here, I'm going to talk about some of the layers within Eclipse. So the biggest box will be a project. So this is a project I created last year, and it looks like this, typically with an SRC or a source folder, a JRE library, and then these are extras that I added in later. SRC is where your actual packages and your code is going to exist. So within your project, you're going to be creating multiple packages. Packages are kind of like boxes of executable code that might include multiple files. So for the purposes of organization in this course, because we write so many small projects and small files, we'll be creating a package for each chapter. Or potentially, if you're creating a larger assignment, you might create a package for that assignment. So you'll notice I have chapter 1, 2, 3, and so on and so on. Within these packages, I have Java files, which is actual code that I can run. So to create these, to create your project is just a new Java project. You'll give it a name, give it a folder, and off it goes. It'll automatically save it within your workspace. Once you have your project, you can right-click on your project's SRC folder and create a new package. Okay? You can give that package a name, and then off you go. Within your package, you can right-click to create a new class, which is a new Java file. Give it a name, and we'll talk about naming conventions later, and then off you go. That'll allow you access to your files. So what should your structure look like for this course? Well, I recommend everybody have a project in which you'll do all of your main classwork. I recommend everybody create a second project for the files from the textbook. So you can call those textbook files, student files, whatever. And then when you go to that project, you're actually going to do an import. And you're going to import from general. And you're going to import either a zip file, or if you've already unzipped it, just the files from the file system into this project. And this is where you'll use on your classroom. Oops, wrong one. On your classroom, I put a link under your intro materials for the home computer. There's a link to Skylit Publishing here. And if I go there, this is going to download your student file zip file. This includes all of the pre-written code from the textbook that you'll use through all kinds of different exercises. So you'll download that, and then in Eclipse, you will point that import to that zip file that you downloaded. Okay, you'll point it to the zip file, select all, and then import it into that project. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to access all the code that the textbook created. Now, you don't want to just open and edit these Java files on their own. You're going to want to copy them into your projects. And we do that a couple of ways. You can do the old right-click copy, right-click paste. I actually prefer just the drag while you hold down the control key on your keyboard. You'll see the plus sign appears. And then if I drag that over, it's going to put it into my package. Okay. Okay. And you'll notice now that greetings file has been copied over. Now, if I double click on that file, I just want to point to one line, the top line in the code. If you've done this correctly, when I copy it over, it should update the package name. If it doesn't, notice my package here is called chapter 01A. I would need to manually type this line in at the top of my file. Package space, the name of the package, and it is case sensitive, followed by a semicolon. And that just ensures when I go to run, which is right here, this little green play button, when I go to run my code, it's going to be able to properly do so. All right, so take your time, pause that, rewind it, whatever you need to do. Make sure that you get your workspace set up, your individual projects set up, your packages set up, and that you import those student files into your textbook project, and then you're ready to go for when we start coding next week. Awesome.